Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Recha Kudash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of Numbers, the first chapter. And as we start to get into the book of Numbers, transitioning from the book of Leviticus, Israel is still in the wilderness, okay? But this book pretty much covers the events that take place, the situations that happen in there from our journeying in the wilderness up unto eventually the land of Canaan, okay, as we make our way there slowly, and the different regulations the Lord puts in place along the way, okay? So this is the book of Numbers, chapter 1, verse 1. And the Lord Yahweh spake unto Moses in the wilderness of Sinai, in the tabernacle of the congregation, on the first day of the second month, in the second year, after they were come out of the land of Egypt, saying, Take ye the sum of all the congregation of the children of Israel. And that sum is the total count, like a census, after their families, by the house of their fathers, with the number of their names, every male by their polls. So this was going to be a count of, as it says, every male by their polls. So counted by their families, broken up or separated by the house of their fathers, eventually going into their clans and tribes, and then the total number of names, okay, for every male. So as it says in the NKJV, take a census of all the congregation of the children of Israel, by their families, by their fathers' houses, according to the number of names, every male individually. From 20 years old and upward, all that are able to go forth to war in Israel. Thou and Aaron shall number them by their armies. Okay, so there's a criteria for those that would fit this, right? The males, 20 years old and up, that were able to go to war. They were the ones to be numbered. And with you there shall be a man of every tribe, every one head of the house of his fathers. So in addition, right, they would call apart or set apart a man to represent each tribe. Okay, these would be the heads of their, as it says, the house of their fathers, so the chief of those of each tribe. And these are the names of the men that shall stand with you. Of the tribe of Reuben, Elizur, the son of Shadir. Of Simeon, Shelumiel, the son of Zurishaddai. Of Judah, Neashan, or Nashon, the son of Aminadab. Of Issachar, Nathaniel, the son of Zuar. Of Zebulun, Eliab, the son of Helon. Of the children of Joseph, of Ephraim, Elishama, the son of Ammihud. Of Manasseh, Gamaliel, the son of Pedazur. Of Benjamin, Abidan, the son of Gideoni. Of Dan, Ahiezer, the son of Ammishaddai. Of Asher, Pagiel, the son of Okron. Of Gad, Eliasaph, the son of Deuel. Of Naphtali, Ahira, the son of Enan. These were the renowned of the congregation. So they were, men in high positions of each tribe that were appointed to represent like the heads of the different tribes here. Princes of the tribes of their fathers, heads of thousands in Israel. And let's look into that word princes here. Okay, because in a nutshell, is people in a high position, specifically for this case. So as we see here, right, one lifted up, a chief, a prince, a captain, or leader. All right. Verse 17, and Moses and Aaron took these men, which were expressed by their names, as we just read, and they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month. And they declared their pedigrees. Their pedigrees is their basically their ancestral lineage, right? Their line, their family lines, after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the number of of the names, right? So each family would come of a tribe, right? Because they would all be traced back to, one of the sons of, Jacob, right? Going back to one of the tribes. According to the number of the names, however many there were per that separation, right? Per tribe. From 20 years old and upward by their polls. As the Lord Yahweh commanded Moses, so he numbered them in the wilderness of Sinai. And the children of Reuben, Israel's eldest son, by their generations, after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names. So in each generation, right, remember this is 20 years old and up, with each family, right, you had different families of the Reubenites. So in each family, you would count, or you would get the head count of all those that would qualify, right, per this requirement or standard. And then, right, you would combine all of those counts to get what is the total head count of that tribe of Reuben. As it says, according to the number of names by their polls, every man from 20 years old and upward. And when you go into that word polls, it's just basically like the heads, right, of each house. Right, head, poll of a census. Okay. It says a head in enumeration of persons. Like even today, right? If they say there's a poll for, counting, or how many people say yes, how many people say no, it's really just a head count to find out, okay, how many are in favor of X or not in favor of it. Every male from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war. Those that were numbered of them, even of the tribe of Reuben, were 46,500. That's 46,500 total that were males 20 years older, able to go to war. Of the children of Simeon by their generations after their families, by the house of their fathers, those that were numbered of them, according to the number of the names, by their polls, every male from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war. Those that were numbered of them, even of the tribe of Simeon, were 59,300. So 59,300. Of the tribe of Gad, by their generations, after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war. Those that were numbered of them, even of the tribe of Gad, were 45,650. 45,650. Of the children of Judah, by their generations, after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war. Those that were numbered of them, even of the tribe of Judah, were 60, that's 60, and 14. 60 plus 14 is 74,600, so a total of 74,600. Of the tribe of Issachar, by their generations, after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war. Those that were numbered of them, even of the tribe of Issachar, were 54,400. 54,400. Of the children of Zebulun, by their generations, after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war. Those that were numbered of them, even of the tribe of Zebulun, were 57,400. 57,400. Of the children of Joseph, namely of the children of Ephraim, by their generations, right? So of the children of Joseph in particular, right, which one of the children of Joseph, namely that of Ephraim, right, by their generations. So this is dealing with the Ephraimites, after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war. Those that were numbered of them, even of the tribe of Ephraim, were 40,500. Of the children of Manasseh, by their generations after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war. Those that were numbered of them, even of the tribe of Manasseh, were 32,200. That's 32,200. Of the children of Benjamin, by their generations, after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war. Those that were numbered of them, even of the tribe of Benjamin, were 35,400. Of the children of Dan, by their generations, after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war. Those that were numbered of them, even of the tribe of Dan, were 62,700. Okay, that's 62,700. Of the children of Asher, by their generations, after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war. Those that were numbered of them, even of the tribe of Asher, were 41,500. Of the children of Naphtali, throughout their generations, after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war. Those that were numbered of them, even of the tribe of Naphtali, were 53,400. These are those that were numbered, which Moses and Aaron numbered, and the princes of Israel, being 12 men, each one was for the house of their fathers. And these are the 12 men that we basically just we read up at the beginning, each of them representing a tribe. So were all those that were numbered of the children of Israel by the house of their fathers, from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war in Israel. Even all, or all they that were numbered, were 600,000 and 3,550. Okay, that's 603,550 total. Now, this is excluding, as we're about to read here, the tribe of Levi. But the Levites, after the tribe of their fathers, were not numbered among them. For the Lord Yahweh had spoken unto Moses, saying, Only thou shalt not number the tribe of Levi, neither take the sum of them among the children of Israel. So they're excluded from this census. But thou shalt appoint the Levites over the tabernacle of testimony, which is where the ark of the testimony was, and over all the vessels thereof. That includes the table, the candlestick, the utensils, the censers, all of that. And over all things that belong to it. They shall bear the tabernacle and all the vessels thereof, and they shall minister unto it. So they're going to do service, right? They're going to be the ones working, within and without concerning the tabernacle, and shall encamp round about the tabernacle. So when we look here, let's see, encampment of Israel around the tabernacle. And so if we look here, let's see. I suppose we could use this, right? So if we say that this right here would be, or is, the tabernacle, right, where the tabernacle where the Lord, his presence would be, immediately surrounding it, right, as you have these camps, would be the tribes of the Levites, Okay, when it says here, and shall encamp round about the tabernacle. So the tabernacle is in the center, in the midst of Israel. The Levites would encamp about it, all right, by their families. And then on the outer side, you would have the rest of the tribes, okay, as you can see here. And I believe this is mentioned, or it goes into this in the next chapter, how, if I remember correctly, let me see here. Yeah, in the next chapter, how the tribes were separated, but they also encamped about the tabernacle. But the buffer between them was the tribes of the families of the Levites. So it says here, and when the tabernacle setteth forward, the Levites shall take it down. So when it's time to move, remember, the Lord said He would have that cloud or that chariot. It would ascend, and then it would begin to move. That would basically be the signal that, okay, it's time to move somewhere else. So at that point, the Levites would take down the tabernacle, right? The tents, everything. They would take it down because they were the only ones that were authorized to handle the holy things, right? And when the tabernacle is to be pitched, when you get to a point of setting up camp again, the Levites shall set it up. They're gonna set up the tent. They're gonna set everything back up again. And the stranger that cometh nigh shall be put to death. Now, this stranger here is referring to basically anybody that's not authorized, i.e., being a Levite, to come near onto this service, right, onto this work that we just read up above here, the setting up or the taking down of the tent. Anybody else tries it, they're gonna be put to death. And that's why, as it's gonna tell us, the Levites were basically that buffer between the rest of the tribes and the tabernacle. And the children of Israel shall pitch their tents, every man by his own camp, every man by his own standard throughout their hosts. And the standard, when you go into that, it's like a banner, right, which signifies like who you're with. Well, in this case, it would be like each tribe. Okay, so there are certain areas where you have the camp, where you have the different tribes, right? You have Reuben and Judah and Issachar and Zebulon, and so they would be encamped about the tabernacle, divided by their tribes. Like a very low level example of how the land of Israel was like separated, and each tribe had their own portion or place to dwell throughout their host. But the Levites shall pitch round about the tabernacle of testimony, that there be no wrath upon the congregation of the children of Israel. And the Levites shall keep the charge of the tabernacle of testimony. So they would be the ones in charge, and they would be like that buffer, right, between the people and the tabernacle in the center. And the children of Israel did according to all that the Lord commanded Moses, so they did. And the reason it says that there be no wrath upon them, because remember, it mentioned above that anybody else that comes near will be put to death. And that brings us to the end of the book of Numbers, the first chapter. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Recha Kodash. And until next time, Shalom.